season for round 6, and I'll be taking you through the action for Canada. Yeah, hello to the viewers, and just as we get loaded into quali, there will be a 1 minute silence for obviously the Queen of England, so no drivers should be leaving the pit, so I will mute myself for the 1 minute silence. Yeah, and there you go. That was the 1 minute silence for the Queen of England, or was the Queen of England. So, obviously, FRL wishes her, well, a restful time in heaven, and hopefully, I guess on behalf of FRL, I mean, we applaud her for her time being Queen. But shame about Mr. Merckx coming out, but there you go. He probably didn't get the memo, and now he'll be serving a quali ban for next race. So that was very clever from Mr. Merckx, but oh well, probably didn't know. Weather's looking pretty overcast, if I do say so myself. So it'll be an interesting race. We were meant to have 16 drives, but Dan Messi, I believe, did not. No, Dan Messi is here. Cameron Barber wasn't able to turn up because of his Wi-Fi, because he's in an army camp. So we've got 15 drivers, but it's 2 more than last time, or 1 more, or 2 or 1 more. I'm not too sure. But either way, Mr. Merckx, here we go, starting on a lap. This is very loud in my ears. Gonna have to turn it down. Mr. Merckx coming into turn 2. This is the first of 5 chicanes around Canada. Coming to the second chicane around Canada to turn 3. You really want to hit that curb, which he does, to be fair. Hits turn 4 as well. Uses the exit curb. And then as tight as you can through turn 5, then into turn 6. You might want to use the outside curb a little bit if you're feeling brave. 6 and 7 here. Picks up the power very slowly, but it's a very tidy lap so far from Mr. Merckx for the first lap of F4. Into turn 8, I believe, if I'm counting correctly. Probably not. And then to turn 9, exiting. He could probably get a bit out earlier on the power, but he doesn't want to do what he usually does with his daily spins. 43.1, first sector, first gear he uses, just misses the hairpin of turn 9, I believe that is. And then coming out through the chicane of turn 10 and 11, Mr. Merckx is going to have to be careful not to invalidate. Very easy to invalidate in the 5th chicane of the whole lap. A lot of chicanes around Canada, and coming through the very last chicane, misses the first apex, but hits the second one nicely, and exiting down the main straight. First lap of the day is a 12.2, and just quickly gonna change the volume so I can actually hear what I'm saying over the engine noise, otherwise I will go deaf. And I can't do that because I need to do a part. Here we go, we'll do one with Flex, because he could have been here, but he isn't. So Mr. Merckx is currently on pole, and as we switch back, here we go. Little Brookie's on pole, and Paul's got balls out. 2 things which aren't that surprising, to be honest, but Little Brookie on pole by 1 whole second. I'll just turn down the volume. That would be a bit of a clever thing, wouldn't it? Jesse goes to the top, 11.2. Very good lap, and only 800ths off Little Brookie. I'm just going to leave this part. I'm sorry about this fiffing and faffing. I was late as well. This is poor from me. I'm doing a ball boy. But here we go. Back to the action. Finally. As I said, Jesse is currently on pole. Mr. Merckx, actually, for a lap which looks a little bit conservative. He's in 3rd, only 3/10 off pole. Let's see, is Jesse pushing again? I'll have a check, see what he's doing through this corner. Well, it looks like he's pushing, or maybe he's just pushing for his in-lap, but we'll check through the second sector if he's up on his time. He's very low on battery, but he's using it up. Nah, Jesse's slightly down on his time. See if he makes any up into the last chicane. As just seeing Steve and Mertner 3/10 off pole. So the top four very close in F4, which is nice to see. Your idea was 1.4 seconds off the pace, and Steve 2.4 seconds off the pace. Both of them need to definitely improve. Little Brookie and Jesse are both into the pits. Mr. Merckx is invalidated, and Mertner, I couldn't see there, but I think he might be on a lap. So let's see what the Alpine does. No, he is flashing at the back, so he's not on a lap. Janzu, he's not on a lap either. And there you go. That is, if you want to know what the Ferrari livery looks like, that's the onboard. Looking very nice. I like the yellow with the black. It's a nice combination. I love the rear wing. Looks very pretty, the Ferrari, with the yellow, red and black. Nice combination. With the 75 years, obviously, it's Ferrari's 75th anniversary of racing. Let's see how O'Stevens doing. He used to be, of course, Ferrari. He's been in Ferrari all apart from 2 seasons in FRL. Just seeing there, he's improved from 2.4 seconds off the pace to 1 second off the pace. So O'Stevens on the second lap did an improvement. I think he's going to pit this lap. See what Dan Messi's doing. Dan Messi, he's up by 7/10. This is a good lap so far. Dan Messi now up by 4/10. He could go up into 7th. Simply getting in a time in quali will probably do enough to be in the top 10 knowing F4, but then again, never underestimate F4. You never know what can happen. But as little Brookie's leaving the pits, Dan Messi's going to come around the last chicane. No, he's given up. He's boxed. So the next car to be starting a lap, I believe, will be Race to Your Death. Race to Your Death. I'm not sure if he turned up last week. I don't think he did for Austria. So he's a new driver. Well, I say new driver. He was back here in, I believe it was season 2 of F4. And I think he was also in F2 season 6, I want to say. The season where I believe Macho won the title. But Race to Your Death, starting lap in a Williams. Another team which has obviously been around racing-wise quite well, just like Ferrari. And see what he can do. His teammate is Yuri. No, it's not Yuri. I'm blind. He does not have a teammate as he has invalidated. So Race to Your Death gonna go solo for Williams. As we got a whopping 12 viewers watching F4, which is quite nice. And they're watching JB. JB 14th at the moment in the Haas. He's usually right at the front of the grid in the race, but in qualifying he's used to being around the top 7. I'd say. So if I had to make a guess, I think JB's going to go just ahead of O'Stevens as he usually does, but he's getting off power quite nicely there. Got a nice helmet, red and black. Not sure if that's for the Queen of England. 42.7. I don't think that's on the pace as he goes into neutral at the hairpin. Don't think that was planned. But JB, nonetheless, he's pushing on. He's not going to back out of this lap. See if he can get close to his teammate. His teammate, of course, being his son, as I always mention every race weekend. So Haas got a special chemistry in their team. Oh, he runs wide, and he's invalidated. He's probably got damage as well, and he's going to let Race to Your Death through to start a new lap, which hopefully will be valid for Race to Your Death. As for Brookie, Brookie's pushing on here. I'm not sure if he's up on his time, though, but it could be provisional pole. It's looking good for Brookie. It is provisional pole. Brookie goes to the top. 1.5 tenths clear of Jesse. That's a very good lap from Brookie, and almost into the 10s. So we're seeing very good times set here. I'm just trying to think of some times I did as Yuri. Yuri is, I believe, has just invalidated, now starting a new lap. As Highlander, not bad from him, goes 8th. I'm just trying to remember the times I did on TT. As Mr. Merckx! Mr. Merckx goes 2nd. Brilliant lap from him. 22 thousandths of a little Brookie. His own team's retired. What's happened there? Is that involving Mertner? I think it might be. Oh, Highlander spun. I'm just trying to find... Oh, no. He must have hit someone. I know Steven's out of qualifying. At least he's put in a lap, but still, nonetheless, very poor lap. As I'm still trying to work out what times I did on TT. I believe it was a 9.3, so because these guys are going up. I might be mistaken, but they're going very quickly as Mr. Merckx is down on his time slightly. I might be a bit baffled here. I'm not too sure if these guys are going faster than F3, but Merton is up on his time slightly. We can maybe check end of qualifying, see what F3 are doing, or you can check yourselves if you want to listen to Mr. T-Hawk commentating. Hopefully his stream will be steady. Hopefully mine's steady, it usually is, as we got a whopping 11 viewers, and I cannot see. Oh, he's up by 2/10, Merton. So actually, Merton as well, he's going to make the top 4 a very close bunch now. It looks like the top 4 are the ones who are going to be fighting for pole in qualifying. They're the only ones within touching distance of Brookie. Merton, though, through the chicane, he's going to have a very good chicane, and he navigates it a bit too well. He actually gets too much rotation. And just seeing Lewis Care FC, he's crashed out and he hasn't even done a lap time. So that makes it 3 DNFs in qualifying, and that was unlucky from Lewis Care FC. I think that might have been, well, that was exit of the Wall of Champions. So I'm not sure really what happened there. But Janzu, he actually closes to within 4/10 of Brookie. So Janzu's having a great qualifying for his standards. Don't think he'll mind me saying that. Dan Messi, he's pushing on as well. Dan Messi, I think he had a poor second sector on his first run. So Dan Messi should be up by maybe a second here, or 5/10. That's going to be putting him 7th at the moment. Dan Messi, come on. He gets through the hairpin well. Come on now, let's see what he can do through the last chicane, the final chicane. If he can keep it valid, Dan Messi, I think he's taken off some of his assists, because at one point he was FRL F2 pace. He won a race in FRL F4, but he was really, really quick there, and he's invalidated. Oh, that's annoying for Dan Messi. And what would it have been? Only a 12.7. Dan Messi's not got the pace he used to. As UID pits when he was up by 4/10. That's a bit odd, but maybe he wants another run. Merton, I don't think anyone's pitting. Oh, sorry. I don't think anyone's pushing on their laps. Janzu isn't, and Dan Messi isn't. So the next driver to start a lap is JB. Oh, they're both on laps. I didn't realise. Maybe I'm blind, but there we go. JB. Okay, and race to your death. Right next to each other. JB does a lap. No, he doesn't. I thought they didn't do laps. Okay, they're both starting the laps. I see the confusion we've had here. Race to your death. Coming through the chicane, as well as Brookie. Once again, let's see if Brookie can get close to his teammate. His teammate is still on pole since we last went on board with Brookie. Brookie really using that curb to swivel him through the flat out right-hander there. JB looks to be using the extremities of the track. He's having a good lap here. The track to me looks a little bit damp almost. I don't think it's sunny conditions, but either way, they're finding the grip out here. The Haas car getting close to the wall. Fans spurring him on, and it's 42.7 for JB. I think that'll put you around O'Stephen area, if I'm not mistaken. I think I've seen JB do a 42.7 before. Race to your death. He is also pushing, of course, just behind JB. Yuri and Umanoy, I think they're pushing as well, just coming into the chicane, as well as Mr. Merckx. So there's a lot of drivers who are going to be doing laps here. JB's going to be the first of all of them. This is actually very good from JB. Oh my goodness, it's quite close. A lot closer than I expected. 4/10 off pole. F4 is well and truly close. Race to your death. He goes 11th. He is the slowest of the ones who have set lap times. But let's see what Mr. Merckx can do. Could it be pole for Mr. Merckx? This would be unbelievable if it is pole for Mr. Merckx. A 10.9. The first driver to get into the 10.9s. And now Yuri up to the line. See what he does. He goes 9th. Good lap from Yuri. He's fresh to no assist. And Humanoid, I think he's starting a lap. Or he might have invalidated. I think he's invalidated because of his ERS deployment. Another one who's going through up towards the line is Jesse, seeing if he can top the charts. No, he doesn't. He does 11.2. I think he's starting his lap. I think there's a bit of a glitch here. But Merton up. Mertena is starting his lap, I'm pretty sure. I think Mertena's starting his lap. It's a bit confusing, sorry if it is confusing. As Mr. Merckx, He's pushing again. Mr. Merckx, I think he's going for another lap, but I don't think he's improving, so I think he's going to have to pit. But Mr. Merckx, what a lap that was to get into the 10s from the AlphaTauri. Mr. Merckx, he isn't usually at the front of qualifying in F4, and I think he's only had one pole ever in FRL, and that was F4 in Brazil, where I think he himself or Macho admitted he got Macho to drive from. If you don't know Macho is a PSGL F4 pacer. If you know how good PSGL is, it's very good as Jesse spins. And I think by how slowly that car's going, I think he realises his chances of pole have slipped away, and that's unfortunate for Jesse because I wasn't really paying attention. But to be fair, coming up to the chicane, it looked to be quite a good lap. No mistakes really evident, as Humanoid also put in a lap. But I think Jesse's going to be out of qualifying as Mertena. He's going to make Jesse's qualifying even worse. He goes 5 thousandths ahead of Jesse. Oh, and Jesse now down into P4. That's going to be his best start if no one else improves below him. But Mertena, very good qualifying from him as well. I'm not sure if he has the fuel, he can back off, save ERS, and go for another push lap. So Mertena up to third. A few surprises in qualifying. Mertena and Mr. Merckx. Mertena, obviously, I don't think he's done a race this season. As Humanoid, I expect he's going to pull into the pits. He is. I'm not sure if he's going to have time. Oh, that is a lot of lag from your idea. Wow. That is a lot of lag, but I think... I'm not sure if he's on a lap or not, but that was an almighty amount of lag. Mertena, he's low on fuel. I think that might be Mertena's qualifying over. Brookie, I think Brookie's starting a lap. Yeah, I think Brookie's starting a lap. So let's see if Brookie can reclaim pole, because I'm very sure he's on a lap here. So exiting turn 1 and 2. Haas car getting on power. Jesse retires, just confirming he's out to quali. But little Brookie, I mean, he's done a very nice chicane there. Very clean, no invalidations. Half a tenth up, hooks the curb up nicely, hooks that one up too. He's going to have to get early on the power. He runs close to the curbs, the red and white curbs, which can be a little bit unsteady. And you want to get as close to this wall as possible, and he does that just perfectly. Brookie going to use the curbs here a little bit on exit. No, he doesn't. He's going to be a bit more safe. Maybe it's a good lap here. Maybe Nerve's getting to Brookie. He's up by 2 tenths. This could be pole here for Brookie. This is going to put him in very good stead to take the win if he can put it on pole for the Haas. And Brookie going to use the DRS, trying to get up to about 320 kilometers per hour up to the chicane. Brookie going to round off the chicane. Oh no, he invalidates! Brookie invalidates! Mr. Merckx, it looks like he could be on pole. Oh my goodness. Lewis KLC, I think that's your idea. He's crashed at the final corner. And, oh my goodness, I didn't expect Brookie to do that. It looked perfect up until that moment. And we've seen so many invalidations at that very last corner. Janzu up to the line. He doesn't improve. Way off his time. JB. Can JB do a lap which puts him anywhere near pole? He only needs a couple of thousandths to get ahead of Janzu. JB up to the line. Oh, it's good. It's very good. And it's up to P5. That's the top 5 for JB. I think he'll be happy with that. Dan Messi and the Alpine. They both look like they backed off. I don't know what they're doing. They're running in sync. Mr. Merckx, he's not pushing. The Ferrari of Highlander is not pushing either. He's invalidated. So Yuri's the only driver left. Takes the chicane well for Yuri. Gets on the power. What's he going to be able to do? Oh, it's an improvement. Good improvement from Yuri. And Yuri already in F4. His first race in F4 since moving down from F2 to F4. And he's 8th fastest. 1.1 seconds off the pace. I think that's... very interesting. We'll see how many races it'll take for Yuri to get anywhere close to the win, and then obviously he'll be promoted, most likely. But in a Red Bull, Yuri having a good showing there in P8. O'Steven, the championship leaders, down in P9. And O'Steven's championship rivals are JB and Jesse, who are 4th and 5th. So O'Steven, he's going to be annoyed, but so is Jesse. Jesse could have probably taken pole there by his reaction out of the last corner. But yeah, very interesting qualifying indeed as Mr. Merckx takes his second pole in FRL. Oh wow, this one is legit, I'm pretty sure, unless Matcha was driving for him, which I heavily doubt. But great lap from Mr. Merckx there. Brookie in P2, who was looking to be on for pole, but then obviously the very last corner, it just got away from him and invalidated. Mertens, surprisingly quite fast. We haven't seen him this season, so we kind of forget that he is quite a good quali merchant. Trying not to be too rude. Jesse obviously invalidated as well. Pain for him. JB had a good quali. Janzu, Dan Messi, Yuri were the top 8. Oh, Steven, the championship leader in P9. Your idea finishes off the top 10. Highlander race to death. Umnoid, Paul's got balls. And Lewis were all outside of the top 10. And Paul and Lewis sadly couldn't do a lap, which is unfortunate because, I mean, if you put even a half decent lap in for either of them, I think they could have gone maybe around P10 spot. But at the end of the day, there's if 5 drivers crash, you can score points. So the guys who are further back in the grid will just be hoping for absolute mayhem. And it is not raining, it's going to be a dry race, which I'm pleased to say is Canada in the rain is probably the most boring wet race you're going to have because obviously the street track nature of it. So I'm pleased to say it's dry. Hopefully we do get a couple of overtakes. Canada, usually you don't get too many overtakes around it. Obviously up to the last chicane, usually you see a few overtakes happening. But because obviously it's a street track, that's and into the last corner and into turn 1 are the only real overtaking opportunities. And you've got to have quite a big overspeed on a car behind or ahead to make the overtake work. But overtaking in real life is more difficult than in FRL. In FRL we should be seeing a lot more overtakes than you see in real life. Obviously the drivers are not the best in the world, but some of them getting very better. Yuri, for example, switching to wheel and no assists, going to be very strong next season. I imagine it will probably move up to F3 next season, if not this season. And other drivers like Mertens, I think he's fairly fresh to FRL. Well, he's fresh to FRL. Not sure about F1, but he's also building his pace up. So yeah, also a lot of old faces around, I dare say, in FRL. You got obviously the likes of O. Steven, JB, Brookie, Humanoid, Race to Death, Highlander. The types who've been around, and Paul, who've been around quite a while in FRL. And obviously always trying to pick up the points. But in terms of tyre choices, as I waffle on, 3 drivers on the soft tyres. Mr. Merckx, he wants to get the best launch, so clearly he wants to stay in the lead. Mertens, he clearly wants to be aggressive as well, maybe get the overtakes done early and pull a gap to the medium and hard runners. And obviously Dan Messi as well, who's going to be having a really good launch compared to those hard runners in P5 and 6. Hard runners throughout the whole field, and then you got Brookie on mediums, Jesse on mediums, O. Steven on mediums, Highlander and Race to Death on mediums as well. So O. Steven on mediums, slightly aggressive from him, so it'll be interesting to see what he does as Mr. Merckx lines it up pretty well. It looks like he didn't get a restart there, as all the drivers just aligning their cars, warming up the tyres. They're working them hard, as they're all going to try and make sure the tyres are warm to get the best launch possible. Lewis KFC being the last driver to line up onto the grid. But that is the view into turn 1. There's the drivers looking down into turn 1. The Alpine in P3, he's looking very much towards the outside, towards the hard car, as we have 4 red lights, 5 red lights, and it's lights out and away we go. And the Alpine, with that better probably grid slot, has actually pulled it into turn 1, and he could be in the lead. No, it's little Brookie on the mediums. What a start he's had. Mr. Merckx, he's had a horror show, and Jesse sending it up the inside of Mr. Merckx. Mr. Merckx, he's had poor traction. Oh, as an Alpine gets hit off, that's Dan Messi. Oh, Steven, he's made up loads of positions. And now Mr. Merckx, he's just behind Jesse. Jesse's had I think gained about 1 or 2 positions. He's had a great start. Mertena, he's gained a position, and Brookie's also gained a position. O. Stevens up into P6. Highlander's had a very good start. Has he? No! Oh, the commentator's curse, and now he's right behind his teammate. The 2 Ferraris running 8th and 9th. The sister car of Umnoid, he's also had a good start. He's up into 10th. But Dan Messi, I'm not sure if he has damage. We're going to have to check, as Yuri's lost a bunch of time as well. Yuri's dropped all the way down to 14th. Dan Messi doesn't have damage, so that's good to see. Yuri coming into the hairpin. He doesn't have damage either, I don't think. As further ahead, the Ferraris are fighting with the Alfa Romeo. This is quite close squabbling. They don't want to take each other out. They know there's a team fight as well to be had. They're not fighting towards the front of the championship compared to previous F4 Ferrari teams, but I think Highlander lets him go, which is probably the best thing to do. As Lewis KRC, he's also made up 3 positions from the back of the grid, and we'll show you the grid position gains. As I'm losing my voice already. As oh my god, Lewis KRC, what's an overtake on Race to Your Death? That just seems so easy. Don't know how he managed to do that, given there's no DRS enabled yet. But as you can see, Lewis KRC from the back of the grid making up 4 positions, so it's always easy making up positions from the back of the grid. As Yuri, I think, let Dan Messi through, but they're going to have to get past Race to Your Death, has he hit the wall? Doesn't look like he has, but a lot of drivers are having half spins. They've got to be careful. As long as they keep the wings clean, it'll make for a very good race. But the net loser are Dan Messi and Yuri, who seem to just, I guess, Dan Messi got nicked, which meant obviously he lost a lot of traction and almost spun. And Yuri being fresh and wheel, I think his start probably hindered him. But look at Brookie, the gap he's pulling out. He's a man on the mission after Austria, which was so cruelly taken away from him by a late safety car caused by Paul's Got Balls, who's at the moment in 12th. Brookie obviously was fuming, a few exchanges with Paul, but obviously all good friends now as Mr. Mo accepts fastest lap. But Brookie at the time was annoyed, and he's coming here definitely for revenge. The undoing in Austria for him was obviously a safety car, but also could have been the fact he got penalties as well. If he doesn't get penalties, Brookie is definitely going to be dominating this season. He's just got to learn how to not get penalties and be ruthlessly consistent. And at the moment, he's doing just that, although it is already, it's only lap 2, or lap 3, sorry, of the race. As Yuri dropped to the back of the grid. I'm not sure what happened there. I think it was just probably a moment for Yuri. Well, that engine from the Red Bull sounds nice. Oh, not so nice. Oh no, Lewis. Oh, as Highlander gets a penalty. Oh, Lewis loses his front wing, and because Lewis lost his front wing, Race to Your Death, he's having struggles reversing, but he tried to take avoiding action and hit Lewis, and as a result there's yellow flags all around the track. Is that a safety car? I don't know. It looks like a VSC, but Umanoid's got a 5-second penalty as he usually gets, which is frustrating. I don't know what's happened to Mr. Merckx. Has he had a spin as well? It's all kicked off as it usually does in F4, but I think it's a VSC. But Umanoid, oh, Mr. Merckx must have had damage, but Umanoid, oh, that's unfortunate. Getting a 5-second penalty, but oh, I wish he kept under the delta, because it always happens to poor Umanoid. But to be fair, he's running in the points, he's made up positions, so he's doing decently this race. But this is a good opportunity for Race to Death, Mr. Merckx and Lewis KRC to not lose as much time as they would have. The time lost under a VSC isn't as much as under green flag running, so this helps them to an extent. However, obviously they're getting wing changes as well, so it's not like they're gaining from this VSC, I don't think. It's probably equal, maybe not equal, but losing a few seconds. But Brookie, as a result of that VSC, or Mertena's soft, he's finding pace Mertena, and at the moment he's hunting him down. 7/10 is the gap. Brookie must have a slow car in a straight line, or I think he's derating. But as Lewis KRC spins again, he's got to just try not to be lapped here, Lewis KRC. If he doesn't be lapped, I mean, even if he does be lapped, as long as he can try and get points by people DNFing, that's the aim for him. As Paul gets overtaken from Dan Messi. Dan Messi making good time up on the softs. Umnoid on the back of Highlander. But going back, Mertens, he's closed the gap to little Brookie. He's doing very well. But Jesse as well. Jesse's also right on the rear wing of Mertens. So Jesse probably looks the best of the three drivers. We know Jesse's pace. All he has to do is just try and keep it clean. Have no spins. Try his best to avoid any lap cars, which was annoying for him in Austria, obviously, where he DNF'd because of a lap car being at the penultimate corner, which was, I don't think it ghosted, but I don't know why Janzi retired there, but I'm not sure if Jesse reported it. No, Jesse didn't, but oh my goodness! Mertens drops it, and now Jesse's up into P2, and he's got a shot at Brookie. And Mertens is going to drop all the way down, and look at O'Steven. O'Steven, he's up into P4, the championship leader is gaining. He's right behind his championship rival. JB, second in the championship, third on track. O'Steven, first in the championship, fourth on track. O'Steven's having a great comeback race here so far. This definitely could be a driver of the day performance, as once again we see Lewis KRFC spinning at the same corner. I'm not sure if he's got a setup issue with a very oversteery car, but it's not looking very good for his chances of scoring points. But you never say never in F4. You do say never, because Lewis KRFC's retired. And that's the safety car. Has he done that? Has he retired out of frustration? That looks to be out of frustration for Lewis, and if it is, just retire in the pits. I don't know how he's going to crash around it, unless his car was so oversteered that he span into the wall, which is possible, you never know, but very odd place to crash. And I mean, if it was a rage quit, then all you have to do is just wait. If you really want to retire, go back to the pits and retire the car, and then there will be no safety car, because now every driver has to now think about pitting, and it ruins the gaps, because now Jesse had a good gap over JB, and now that's ruined. So it does make the race, I mean, it bunches up the grid again, so some will say it helps it. I mean, it definitely helps racing to death. He'll be jumping for joy. But because of that, Brookie obviously pits. Oh, he's going to come out in traffic here, Brookie. Oh, see if he can jump Humanoid. Humanoid would be a good car to jump. And Highlander. Ooh, no. Don't make contact. Don't make contact. I think... yeah, Humanoid's let him through. Brookie comes out 7th. Okay, not too bad from Brookie. Brookie can go to the end of the race on these tyres. The thing is, he's got to make the overtakes and make them quick. If he can make them quick, Brookie's definitely going to win this race, because Jesse will struggle to pull out a pit stops gap. But then again, once Jesse pits, if he pits onto, let's say, does a medium soft, Jesse will have fresh sauce and he'll make up time on Brookie. So this is playing out quite interestingly at the moment. Jansu's caught up to the safety car. We are up to Mertens, who's about to catch up to the safety car. But I'll check the YouTube comments if there are any, as we just take a breath from the action. I hope you're all enjoying it. Nice to have 14 drives in F4. Not many have retired so far, which is good to see. Mertens obviously spun from second, so it's nice to see him still in a race. He's up into... well, I say up. Actually, he's made a pit stop, so Mertens is still in with a shot of the win. As I think that's Lewis KRC saying, I had an orange rear wing and had so much oversteer, I never raged. Yeah, that's fair enough. I thought it'd be setup related, but I mean, if it's obviously the rear wing, must be... I mean, that's unfixable for the rest of the race, and the oversteer makes sense at that corner where you flat out, basically. So I imagine Lewis went flat out, lost the rear, spun into the right wall, and caused the safety car, which is unfortunate. I mean, I think he caused that rear wing damage by spinning himself earlier on, but no matter what, it's a shame for Lewis KRC as Aston Martin's points chances diminish. Well, not diminish, but they get a lot lower. As your ideas now, the sole hope of them, the man with awful internet in qualifying, but he got he got my driver of the day. I think it was last week. At the moment he's in 4th. He's looking to have a good race. He's very consistent, your idea, so this is going well for him. As we wait for Race to Your Death to catch up to the back of the field. He'll be very happy to see Mr. Merckx' rear wing. Race to Your Death, I mean, I can't tell if he's on keyboard and mouse, or sorry, yeah, keyboard and mouse, or on controller. I think he's on controller. Must be. Anyway, Jesse, because Brookie pitted and Merton has spun, Jesse, I'm not sure if I mentioned it, but he's in the lead. And now he can go whenever he wants. Where's Jesse going to go? Is he going to be before or after the chicane? He's got the tyre advantage over JB. And he's gone. Jesse's gone. JB, actually, trails him fairly closely, but Jesse's got good straight line speed and he's clear of the Haas car into turn 1. Oh, Stephen under a bit of pressure as the Aston Martin comes lurching into turn 1 in the rear view mirror of O. Stephen. Janzu and Little Brookie going side by side into turn 3 and 4. Just Little Brookie already trying to make up overtakes. He already had Highlander, or Highlander spun, and what an overtake there on Janzu. As Highlander gets another penalty, just mentioning. Oh, as Brookie breaks very late, but I mean, Brookie's a man on a mission. He swiped past Janzu there into turn 4. As there's a spinner off into the background, pulls out. Is that going to be another safety car? Oh no, Mr. Merckx, I think. No, who's that? Is that Race to Your Death again? What's Race to Your Death doing? Race to Your Death, he keeps hitting people when they've spun. It's unbelievable. I'm not trying to be rude, but I think he had the same with Lewis KRFC, and I thought he'd learn from it just to avoid the car, but Race to Your Death, I'm more annoyed for him than at him. But he's now once again solidified himself in the wooden spoon spot. Yuri as well, I think he was the spinner. It was Yuri, I guess. Shame Yuri spun on wheel. Let's see if he's quickly got damage. Well, he clearly does because he's pitting, and I think he did anyway, but frustration for Yuri. He's having a tough time on wheel, but you've got to be slow and consistent when you're obviously moving to any assist or just doing anything really in league racing. The best way to build up pace is start by being consistent, even if it's at a slow pace, and then build it up over time. Humanoid's got another penalty, taking his record to 8 seconds as he is under pressure actually from Merton here. Merton is going to go up the inside. Good move. Humanoid though is going to try and get the switch back, and he does. And now into the hairpin, he's going to try and go up the inside as Brookie further on. You can see Brookie in the background. Brookie's gone for it, and not just UID, he's also gone for it on this man's teammate, on O. Stephen. O. Stephen, as Humanoid's still bad. Oh, they're always 3 wide! 3 wide! Oh, they touch! Oh, UID, he has to stay behind. Janzu is in this as well. Brookie's out all the way down to 5th. And your idea down to 6th. Brookie gets a penalty. Oh, that's as bad as it can get. Your idea hits the wall. And I'm losing my voice. Wow, this is brilliant for Janzu as O. Stephen as well. He had to fend off the attack of little Brookie and Janzu. And what's happened here? I think... Oh, has Brookie tagged your idea? I'm not sure, but... Oh, Brookie seems to have lost his head, or... Ah... I think he was too aggressive into the hairpin, and obviously trying to get... We couldn't see that very well, but trying to get your ideas. He's got no front wing, your idea now. Trying to get your idea. I think he tried to get O'Steven as well, and I don't know what happened, but if he didn't get the penalty, he would have been fine, little Brookie. But obviously he did get the penalty. He's got to be careful with the rejoin, your idea. Ooh, very, 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 very close there to another safety car. If they connected, your idea, he's actually going to go up the inside of Mr. Merckx. As Brookie gets him back, this is how he should have done it. As your idea, you can see him weaving there, he's not very happy. Flashing the DRS. I think he's going to pit. Almost takes out Mr. Merckx. But that's a big shame for your idea. I think your idea got damaged because of little Brookie by the way he was reacting. Not very happy at all. Mertena, he gets Janzu. Janzu and the Ferraris, they're in a big battle with the Alpines, but Janzu doesn't want to fight it. As you can see, he's letting the Alpines through. They're on fresher tyres, faster tyres with the mediums, and just like that, the Alpines are being released towards O'Stephen. And let's see how long it takes O'Stephen to get gobbled up by them, unless O'Stephen manages to hold his own. Either way, as your idea leaves the pits in P11, Yuri's going to gain a bit of time, so maybe you can get P11. He'll be praying as he makes a mistake, breaks a bit too late, and now race to death, you know, he might have a chance. No, he's nowhere near. But race to death, he's doing his best. To be fair, unlike a lot of drivers, he's actually staying in the race, which is way more respectable than a driver who's slow and stays in a race. At least he doesn't leave. So put it that way. So Stephen, speaking of old drivers, he's been taken, as I said before, he only took one lap. O'Stephen's been nicked by two drivers, Mertena and Dan Messi, the two Alpines, looking very nice in their colours, are both being overtaken by O'Stephen, as O'Stephen's got a bad exit and is now under pressure from Janzu. Janzu and O'Stephen, oh, what a move from Janzu there, and it's going back to worse for O'Stephen. O'Stephen, his two championship rivals, are first and second. He's not having a great time here. As further back, Race to Death has a spin, I guess. We'll have a look at what's happened there. He's still got his front wing intact, so he's doing quite well. Still, Alpine's almost inseparable, as Mr. Merckx and little Brookie almost going side by side. As Brookie, I think he's made the move, or maybe he made it before, I don't know. I think he's just made the move, Brookie. And now he is having a go at Highlander. Gonna see if he can make the overtake. I wonder, just looking bottom left, I think the drivers can hear me when they're racing. I can be very distracting now if the drivers can hear me. Either way, Brookie cuts that completely. Oh, and he hits the wall. Oh, it's bad race from Brookie. It was starting so well, getting into the lead, but oh, I mean, the win hasn't been stolen away from him. Brookie's stolen it away from himself by making impatient moves. He may tell me after the race there was an incident, or I may see in a report there was some sort of collision or something, but to the naked eye, knowing Brookie in all his respect, I think he probably made a rash move on your idea. And as a result, it's now Jesse and JB fighting at the front. I haven't spoken about Jesse in quite a while, and that's because he's absolutely running away with it, as an error has occurred. Of course it has, as it always has, and always